treasure flows through Blount County in the form of the Locust Fork of the Warrior River. For many people who live here or grew up here and left, the river fills a prominent place in their hearts and memories. The Friends of the Locust Fork River, with the support of the Blount County Historical Society, have created a project they call River Tales, in which they locate and interview people with strong ties to the river. The project has just begun and will go on for a long time. We want you to know about it and get involved with it if you'd like, and we'd like for you to be thinking about people we should interview. But first, let's just look at our beautiful river. Our procedure. We contact the person we want to interview, tell them about why we want to talk to them, and then come bearing a recorder, in most cases a cell phone, a release, and a list of questions to guide the conversation. Before we go to the interview, we practice using our equipment so we know, for instance, which end of the cell phone to point at the speaker. With the authorization form, the person interviewed gives us permission to use his or her words in presentations such as this one, and any books, magazines, videos that we or others may make for educational purposes. We are hoping that teachers and students in local schools will use these interviews as basis for videos, poems, songs, history classes, etc. Once we've recorded the interview, we listen to it and log it, summarizing the key points that were made and highlighting the most interesting parts. The finished log looks something like this. It is important to have this summary because no one wants to sit down and listen to a recording without knowing what they might or might not find. On the form, the interviewer indicates what was said, with time numbers indicated so that someone who wants to find that part can find it easily. Most parts are summarized. A few really interesting parts are transcribed word for word. It will be turned over to Nancy Jackson, chair of this project, with the recording of the interview, photos, and the authorization form. All of this will be archived at an institution or organization such as the library, the Historical Society, or the State Archives. Here's an excerpt or two from an interview done by Nancy Jackson of Mr. Fred Taylor, who grew up near the Locust Fork River.
We just raised, all of us raised up around here. And the river was the only entertainment we had back when we were kids because you didn't have no way to go.
Right.
But walk.
Mm-hmm.
And we stayed in the river every Sunday evening down there.
And was that the only time you got to the river was Sunday evenings?
Just about it, because the rest of the time you worked here, you plowed from sun up till sundown.
Mm-hmm. Can and can't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we was off every Saturday and played ball, and then Sunday we stayed in the river. When the boll weevils hit, you know, they come in here all at once. And everybody had to go to poison and cotton. And the way we done it was, had BHC and that toxapain. Toxapain wasn't too bad, but that BHC they come out with to kill them. And we put that cotton poison out, put it in cotton poison in sacks. You get one in each hand, and that's the way we poison the cotton, chuck it with our hands over it.
It was powder.
Yeah. And then when it rained, it'd wash in the river, and it'd go into the river, and that river used to just be full of catfish. And it just about wiped them all out there for several years.
Here Fred Taylor talks about the Long Hole, a long section of the Locust Fork where it flows through his grandfather's property. And here's a picture of his family enjoying swimming in the Long Hole.
Right over at the end of them bottoms down there. And we stayed in there every Sunday. That was our regular swimming pool. And we, on this side of the river and on the other side of the river too, we'd all be down there. There'd be 15 or 20 of us Sunday evening in there.
What a good time.
Yeah. Because nobody didn't now know where to go.
Blount County was the home to large populations of Native Americans, both Creeks and Cherokees, prior to the early 1800s. In this interview, Charlotte Haygood tells Donna Matthews about evidence of a settlement on land that we own near Royal on the Locust Fork River.
And I found a little stone had been dislodged at the bottom of the trail and had rolled out onto the terrace. And I picked it up, and it had a little indentation in it. It was a small stone. It was a nutting stone.
And about how big?
My memory is that it was, well, small enough you could easily carry it in one hand, which would be about 4 by 6, or maybe not that big. And there was a little dimple on one side that was about the right size to hold a hickory nut or maybe a chestnut, so that it would stay where you wanted it while you smashed it. I hadn't found any other Native American artifacts that I knew about, and I thought, well, perhaps there are more. And then one day when I was walking from our caravan down toward the river, I saw a stone, a large, pretty large stone. How big is that, Nana? About 12 by 15, and it was laid up against the side of the trail because the trail has worn down. It's below the level of the ground on both sides, which might indicate, an animal trail or that people had used it in the past, but it had been used a lot at some point. And this was just laid up on the right-hand side against the bank. And I turned it over, and it, too, was a grinding stone. Well, I was really excited then, because I'd found 2 of them. And I started thinking about removing it, and I thought, no, I should leave it in place as much as possible. So what I did was, I had found it near a tulip poplar, and so I put it behind the tulip poplar, where it wouldn't be out in the path and somebody else would find it, but it would be where we could relocate it. So that made 2. And then later I found a 3rd one. Donna, you're going to have to tell me what you would call this. There's this place along the trail where somebody has taken a bulldozer, and off to the left, kind of on the brow of a hill, they have scraped off the dirt. And there I found a 3rd one, which was buried. So it was, the top of the stone was level with the top of the dirt that had been scraped off. And that one I never moved, so it should still be there. So that makes 3.
This is Selmer Joe Taylor, better known as Sam Taylor, who was born in 1929, very near a place in the river that could be crossed on foot or by cars and wagons. Called Taylor Ford, it is still a popular put-in place for river activities. Here Fred tells me about the uses of Taylor Ford. So can you tell me about the ford, and did they really use it?
Oh, yeah. I crossed there many times. People over there used to go to church over at All Grove, wade the river and go to church.
What church did you have to cross?
Huh?
What church did they go to that you had to cross the ford?
All Grove.
All Grove.
All Grove.
Okay. And so every Sunday they'd cross the ford?
No, they didn't. Well, they didn't go all the time. I mean, just when they was having a revival meeting or something. I mean, people
Oh, yeah.
go and come. And now they got cars and everything else and don't go at all. Back then they didn't have to walk.
Yeah.
They walk and go to church.
So they'd walk across the ford?
Yeah.
But did they take buggies across it too?
Oh yeah, wagon.
Did it ever get dangerous where it was too high to do that?
Well, yeah. We couldn't cross in the wintertime.
Oh. Just as a general rule, you couldn't
Yeah,
cross there?
in the general road, you couldn't in the winter.
It's the wet season.
Yeah,
So then you had to go all the way around?
yeah. Long ways around.
Oh, okay. Here you can see the place where vehicles cross and the dirt road on the other side. Note that the church on the other side was called Hall Grove instead of All Grove, as the interviewer, called it. I also asked Sam about river baptism. He said he was baptized in the river, and his daughter Melissa Talbert gave me a photo of Sam's father, D. Taylor, being baptized. These baptisms were done by Riverside Church in a place called the Winding Hole near the bridge on Highway 26.
Recounting to Nancy Jackson a weekend of river misadventures, Richard Peterson concludes his story with this.
Those are the experiences that you hope somebody can learn from and not have to experience them.